And we are live in our umbraCoffee episode 87, which we titled Community Beyond Code. Do we want to reveal why?
Well, I think we have a very special guest today, but also the past couple of weeks we've been seeing a lot of this content coming up on blogs and things about how you can get involved in the community beyond just building packages or releasing software. So maybe let's introduce Anna from Microsoft. Hey, Anna.
Hi.
Anna.
Hey, Callum. Hi, Marcin. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. It's a little bit overcast here in Seattle, but that's fine. I think we need to just get a bit of relief from the odd hot day that we do get. So yeah, it's quite nice actually.
We had a really hot week last week, and now a bunch of rain. So it's cooled down a bit.
Yeah.
We are mixed here in Poland, and right now it was raining, but right now the sun is over here. So yeah, feeling your pain here. We've been talking about communities-oriented activities, and here in umbraCoffee, we are always talking what happened in Umbraco community. And last week we've been sharing the blog post, which was released by one of the Umbraco HQ members, who is responsible for the community relations. It's Ilham, and it was called Umbraco Community Beyond Code, and it's a great blog post highlighting the way how people can contribute to open source. And I think it's a good relation and starting point of our discussion today, because there is multiple ways how we can help products, communities, technologies, big companies, and everyone else, and ourselves as well, doing various things. So maybe Anna, can you highlight what your responsibilities are and how you are contributing to communities in general?
Yeah. Community is a huge part of my job. It's practically all I do. I focused on right now being the community lead for Microsoft Ignite, and Ignite is a massive event that Microsoft runs. It's happening this November, specifically November 4th to November 8th in Orlando, Florida, and you can expect over 20,000 people to turn up, and it's an amazing event. It's quite exhausting, not just for myself as one of the chief planners, but also for attendees too. But we've got so much content planned, whether you are a developer or you are an IT professional. We've got a lot of great experiences and great speakers lined up for you. So specifically, we have an open call for our community to be involved. And we're looking for people to submit sessions, breakouts, theatres, as well as be a part of podcasts, to host conference sessions, and as well as being a community reporter. So lots of different opportunities for anyone to be involved at Microsoft Ignite.
That's awesome. I know from my own experience, I actually went to Ignite the tour in Sydney earlier this year,
nice.
and it was really great fun. And you're right, it's a massive event. It is exhausting being there. I can only imagine how exhausting it is to organize.
From the other side, because we've been talking before going live that we are all involved into some events and conferences, and we know the pains of the other sides. And
yeah.
you said it's not directly coupled, but Microsoft Ignite and Microsoft Ignite Tour are two big events, and I remember events in Warsaw as well, which were also some kind of Microsoft organized live streaming sessions, which we were just for the community, so people were gathering in the same place and watching the main event from States. Is it also planned for integrating communities across the globe which are not involved in the Ignite Tour, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, we do a lot of work to put a big show together, but we don't want to make all that effort to be just isolated to the people who turn up at the event themselves, although they do get a really good experience. So when we think about planning for Microsoft Ignite the Tour, think of it as the traveling version of Microsoft Ignite. Now, certainly it won't be as big and as bold in terms of having massive keynotes, and Satya is not going to go to every single city tour stop, but we do want to find and distill the best parts of Microsoft Ignite and bring it along to 30 cities. But like you said, we do a lot of live streaming. we live stream we've traditionally just live streamed the first day of the event, where we land the keynote and concurrently allow you to be able to find all the different technical keynotes, etc. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, but there are going to be some significant changes in 2019. For starters, we're going to live stream the entire event to the best of our ability. So every single breakout theater is going to be live streamed. Actually, that was what we did last year too, but instead we're going to do that on top of having a live stream that you can just tune into like one channel, and we'll be able to get you to see interviews. We'll be able to allow you to see some of the things that we're doing with Twitch, see what it's like on the show floor and the partner showcase or the Microsoft showcase. So it will be a whole show, and we'll have our community reporters who are going to fill in that content between some of those big sessions that you can live stream. So there's a lot going on, and I think for you guys as event managers, I think you can really be sympathetic to some of the work that we have to do to try and create a really great show, because right now we've got the call for content live, and I'm going through hundreds and hundreds of submissions right now, and some of them are really, really good, but you have to be very clear on what you want, otherwise you don't get what you need to put on a good show, right?
For sure.
I was going, Callum, to share one of the pictures from one of the past events.
Oh my gosh, that looks amazing.
It's one of the UmbraCoffees live from the biggest event in Umbraco community called Code Garden, which happens once per year in Odense in Denmark. And yeah, this is we. Those are people who are usually joining us on stage when we are live, and of course we are doing live streaming. So hopefully we'll be able to submit sessions like that. Wearing gringo hats and talking about unicorns and.
But it's super interesting to see that you're going to try and kind of create this very immersive experience for your event, because that's sort of what we do with umbraCoffee. The idea was that we live stream a roundup of the day every day, and we get the key people, maybe some speakers and some opinionated attendees perhaps to come on stage and have a chat. And it's a really nice day, not just for the people that watch online, but it's a really nice way for the people that have been at the event too to wrap up and to get involved in other ways than just being an attendee.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't go to too many other vendor events like, reInvent or anything like that, but I feel very proud of how integrated community is. So Microsoft Ignite, we make a really big effort to make sure that the content and the experiences that we deliver as part of the community piece complement the Microsoft content, right? I mean, you can absolutely expect we're going to be landing big announcements and making sure that our Microsoft engineers and experts are available to answer questions. But the value that community provides is real world scenarios, right? They understand how things are used and what really can sometimes break a developer, how does it actually, what does it really mean to get started with ASP.NET Core when you're just starting out versus people who are more experienced? We really want to get an assembly of people together across different experiences, whether you're super expert or someone who is just starting out. Getting people together is really important, especially because people are all learning at the same time, but they're all at different stages of their learning path, right? And I think the best way for people to learn is through community. You could go through tons and tons of documentation, but you'll never really get that aha moment as quickly as if you have a conversation
with someone.
In the community. Totally.
So sometimes one question can change everything, and someone who just has an answer.
I was going to say, I remember when I was at the Ignite tour in Sydney, something that I thought was really fantastic for not just connecting people, but actually spreading the love a bit for kind of, some people are starting out, some people are maybe from a underrepresented background, was your your diversity in tech wall.
Yeah.
Is it right with the pin badges? And it had like, I'm a something hero on it and a few other things.
It is your picture, Callum, right?
Diversity power.
Diversity superpower. Yeah. So Shauna, she leads all the work around diversity in tech, and that's a really great ad to include as part of Microsoft Ignite, as well as Microsoft Ignite the tour. And I think right now in 2019, it's a really important conversation to have, because we can talk about technology until, midnight, basically, and the events, don't go on all day. But there are some really important topics that impact our industry, it doesn't matter what role you're in. We want to ensure that this is an industry that is inclusive, that is aware of different perspectives, and is doing our utmost to make sure that everyone feels included, no matter what your background or where you come from.
I know that at the Ignite tour, you had even a whole track dedicated to diversity. So it's not just about tech. And so I guess when you're after proposals for content, it's not just someone necessarily showing off the latest, greatest, best technology. It's actually the whole community and how we can bring people together.
Yeah. And we know that we're a tech conference, and we're not trying to avoid that. It's just a matter of us making sure that we're sort of a bit more organized and thinking about the topics that do impact us as individuals, whether it be, hey, how do you think about neurodiversity, and what are the challenges and ultimately, great benefits of including people from neurodiverse backgrounds. And that could be anything from people with autism, or have bipolar disorder, or even just overall mental health, right? So there's that. There's also just thinking about challenges from a recruitment and inclusion point of view on that front, hiring specifically for diversity. I see these sessions as real talk, because sometimes they're just things that people don't necessarily, they wouldn't necessarily feature them as part of a tech event's keynote, but are we thinking about it? Are people talking about it on social? Absolutely. So I think it's important to be organized and making sure that it is a topic that we address across Ignite, as well as Microsoft Ignite Tour. Because if you look at the 30 cities that we're going across, you can probably take a guess as to which cities are a little bit more ahead on the diversity front than others. So we, as Microsoft, really believe in diversity inclusion and trying to drive that language so that we can all be part of this global community together.
Yeah, and I guess because you've got such a powerful company backing this event, you're the best people to be doing this. Marcin and I, as event organizers, also strive to achieve this, but kind of maybe on a 20th of the scale is
but I also think, Callum, that any movement is better than non-movement, right? So if even some single person can try and do something with just being more oriented on it and seeing the topic, and as you've, Anna, mentioned, even mentioning it from the stage or event like that can just show someone that something like this exists, and it's not something what someone imagined, right?
Maybe a good segue towards one of the conversations that's been going on a lot in the Umbraco community, which is around accessibility. So but not just in terms of events, but actually technology too. And making sure that our product's more accessible. And it's great to see these conversations spark out of events. I know that maybe last week, was it Rachel, did a blog post about what they've been doing to make accessibility really, really important in V8. And this is driven by the community and people getting inspired and interested, not necessarily by the people building the product. And that's really cool to see.
Yeah. I mean, like, you're absolutely right. It goes both ways when it comes to events. As you think about content and making people aware of all of the things that we're trying to achieve from an accessibility point of view for our products, and getting some of the insight behind the scenes with engineers whose job it is to build that. And then on the flip side, from an event perspective, how do we make sure that our event is making sure that everyone, no matter your ability, is feeling included. It's not just like making sure we have the right spaces designed for people with, certain challenges that an able-bodied person doesn't have, but also mentally, like we need to find spaces for low stimuli, because it can be quite overwhelming. If you've ever been to a Microsoft Ignite in Orlando, you'll know that there's a lot of noise, especially in the partner showcase, because they're all vying for your attention. So yeah, it's a lot of consideration, and I think the challenge we have is like, at what point do we stop? And I don't think we should. But it does make it challenging for us. Like, well, you know, there's only so much we can do, but we are doing our utmost to make sure everyone and every voice is heard.
Yeah, I think that's going step by step from event itself, and just even navigating to the website, which is the front page about the event itself. It's something that we as web developers in most cases are missing, because we cannot imagine that someone maybe is not reading or seeing it what we are seeing there. And speaking about general accessibility and even inclusiveness of everything from the web to events, etc., is very important nowadays. And I think we've been also mentioning it multiple times during umbraCoffees in the past, that it's a great to see those types of movements inside of our community, because we can speak about our community, and seeing other communities also being oriented around that is the way how it should be probably treated in this year, and not only this year.
Maybe this is a good time to jump to some of the other things that are going on in this is maybe a shameless plug, but I run a series of barbecues, which it's just a social event, and so it's actually more about getting people together and being able to chat and talk than and breaking down all the walls of it being a formal setting, and it's just really personal. We did one last week in Leeds. We had a quiz. We had
I can share some pictures from there as well.
Cool.
Some prizes given out, and then we've got a few more coming up. I love that picture. Yeah, we've got a few more coming up. One today actually, and then one in
next Friday
time. Oh yeah. So at Umbraco HQ, and
you have one more which was not announced earlier, right?
Yeah, that's a new one. But this is the company that backs the product that we all use, that's actually opening their doors and inviting us in, and we get to chat with the key people there, and other people get to come along and just chat. It's a really good way of breaking down some of those walls, and learning more from each other.
I really love that, because, and I take a lot of inspiration from community events, because you do an excellent job of making sure all attendees are optimizing for networking, right? Oftentimes when we run big events of the nature of Microsoft Ignite, there's like 26,000 people, and trying to get them organized to network and talk to each other can be quite daunting. Like if it's a small group of like 15, 20 people, it's so much easier to just like, you know, offer your hand and say, hey, this is who I am. But when you're lining up for coffee, you don't know a single person, it can be quite unnerving. So we do have plans for unconference sessions, so people can optimize for potentially finding someone who is similar to them, or at least interested in that same technology or particular topic. So yeah, we're definitely have an open call for unconferences right now. If you go to the Microsoft website, the Microsoft Ignite website, go to the community section, you'll see I have 3 open calls for community. The first one is that community content for breakouts and theaters and exam prep sessions. Then the second one is call for community champions, and that's where we're looking for unconferences as well as podcasts. So if you've got a really good suggestion for an unconference and you've done one before, whether it's on accessibility or developing on the web, we would love to accept those submissions. So make sure you get them in before. Yes, please.
Before the deadline. Can you remind us all when the deadline is?
Yes, so August 4th Pacific time. So so if you aren't doing anything this weekend, see if you can find yourself an hour to come up with a really good suggestion. And the one thing to note is we're pretty generous about our offer. If you do get selected and get a full conference pass, so you're there at Ignite for the entire week, we'll also cover your flights to and from Orlando, and also cover your hotel accommodation. And the other bonus too is that hotel will be located really close to the convention center, so you don't have to like worry about shuttle buses. You could just simply walk and get there. So that'll be super nice
every day.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's another thing seeing from the perspective of organizer of any type of event, that you're taking out some worries from people's minds, and they can just enjoy the event itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shall we quickly jump through some news from this week? There's I think only a couple of things we wanted to share, because this is mostly about community, and that's what we wanted to talk. But there was a few really cool things that we saw. The first was the watch face. So was it Paul made a Umbraco
Fitbit
watch?
It was Paul, yeah. let me just find it on my screen and share it. So yeah, it's here.
Oh, cool.
And he's even shared the a download, so people can go and use this themselves.
Yes, very nice.
In the spirit of sharing.
Sharing is caring, as always. The another thing was maybe not directly sharing from the community activities, but some people who are just chasing Jeffrey to share more about his latest product and the company's product, which is called Marketing Suite. And we've mentioned it also multiple times in the past that everyone is waiting. And right now we have a public announcement that Jeffrey is going to tell us more about this product in definitely in October during the DAG festival, but after that we are expecting to see more and more about it.
Yeah.
And Callum, do you have anything else on the list?
I don't think so. The only thing I would say is, whilst yes, Anna's here and she's got an open call for proposals, we do as well.
Yeah.
So, if you want to share. Your ideas, your content, we really want to hear from you. So the UK festival, which I organize, and the Polish festival, which you organize, Marcin, we have open call for proposals too. We just like Ignite, we would love to get a really nice diverse range of topics. We want to hear from people that we don't normally hear from. We want to maybe talk about the topics that don't normally get spoken about. Inspire more people to get involved in the community.
Yeah. But maybe, Callum, it's also the good segue to some big announcements from the community this week, which were not directly oriented about the community activities, but they will definitely affect the community. And I have in mind the product update, which was a new thing seeing in our community, and it's about the future basically, and now what's next and what's later, which was I don't know if you remember, Callum, my poll shared on Twitter a couple weeks back about what bothers the most community members in Umbraco community, and a lot of people were mentioning the lack of roadmap and the vision of the product. And right now we can see that the vision is publicly announced. The roadmap is hanging on the Umbraco website. We have information what's happening now in Umbraco HQ, what's next on the list, and what's later. So what is definitely not happening right now or in the nearest future, but what we can expect and what's already in Umbraco HQ mind. And also, we've seen the announcement that our good friend Rune is coming back and will be taking care of the product management.
The kind of community relations between product and community.
Yeah, so that's a big announcement from the Umbraco HQ side. And next to another big announcement, which was about security, and we hope to talk more about security maybe next week in umbraCoffee, because that would be probably a topic of our interest for the next week. But yeah, those were two big announcements. Of course, we are encouraging everyone to patch their websites straight after the latest patch. And we will share the link for this blog post if you haven't seen it. But Umbraco was very direct in communicating these issues, those issues, this and on the last one, with all the information required to patch or serve the workaround for the issue. So that's what's really good to see. And from the community perspective, it was great to see so many announcements recently, and it will definitely affect our community and make it better in general, right?
Of course, yeah. Maybe just to wrap up, I know we joked about this before we went live, but Anna, you said your weekend is probably going to be mostly spent resting and then encouraging people to put their final submissions in for Ignite.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I'll be pretty much, reviewing all our submissions so far, and many of them are really great. Yeah, the deadline is creeping up really fast, so I'm trying to get ahead on the review, because I know a lot of last minute submissions are going to come through. So yeah. Get working on that.
Yep.
I'm just grabbing my phone and putting the event in my calendar to review event and put some submissions on. I haven't been in Orlando yet, so that's maybe a good opportunity.
Is it warm in November?
It will be warm. I mean, it's Florida, so it's always warm, but we escape hurricane season at the very least. So that's a bullet dodged.
Cool. We have a great season of events in the Umbraco community, starting from September and October. So it would be great to combine it all, and we can just invite everyone to participate in all of the events which are happening in our and others communities, and we would love to see more knowledge exchange between our communities, because it can only make us all better, stronger, and more happier in general for everyone who is a part of the community. Am I right?
That's right.
And I presume it's a good ending of this episode.
It's a lovely note to end on, isn't it?
Yeah, great invitation for this weekend plans. We will all have a good resting weekend. I also have plans to rest a lot after this crazy week. So yeah, thank you all for watching us. Thank you, Anna, for joining us and sharing so much great information from the Microsoft perspective behind the Microsoft Ignite. And do you want to add anything else from your side?
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to your listeners. So I look forward to seeing many of your submissions come through. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And Callum, what are your plans after barbecue?
I'm going to recover from the barbecue.
Sounds like a good plan. Good plan. Cool. So once again, thank you very much for your time, and have a great weekend, and see you all next Friday.
Bye.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.